So we'll wait just for 1 more minute and then I will start. So the previous sessions recording, the link to the YouTube video has been shared with you all through the Swayam portal. You can access that through by clicking on the problem solving sessions tab on the left hand side in Swayam portal. Right? So it's 7. Let's start. So welcome all of you. I am Indrayani. This is week 3 problem solving session. We have done week 1 and week 2. We have started with the programming assignments also, and we are attempting the assignment quizzes also. So I welcome you all for the week 3's session. So what we will be doing in this session is we will be solving previous run's assignment questions, both the programming assignment and the assignment quiz. So a little about myself. I am a research scholar from IIT Bombay. I am a PMRF fellow, and I have done previously NPTEL TA-ship for a couple of courses. You can connect me via email as well, and you can obviously interact with me during the session also. So I will be uploading recording of today's session by tomorrow. Okay, so by Wednesday I will try to upload recording of this session. So we meet every day on the same Google link every Tuesday 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. and we solve previous runs assignment questions, assignment quizzes. So why do we need to solve these assignment questions? Because current year's assignments and the exam questions will be similar in nature, so it will give us some practice, and it will give you some clarity about the concepts and the syntactual crevices of Python. So there are a couple of points which I would like all of you to note, is that you can obviously ask questions in this session, but just avoid unmuting unless you're asked to unmute, right? I monitor the chat box very attentively, so don't worry, your questions will not go unanswered. You can always type in the chat box, and please, to maintain the decorum of the session, please avoid unmuting. Yeah? So without wasting much time, let's jump onto assignment quiz of previous semester. Right, so this is the question 1. What will be the output of the following code? I hope the code snippet is visible. Yeah, can a couple of you just raise your hands so that I know the it is perfectly zoomed in? Okay, great, thank you so much. Yeah, so this is the code snippet, and we are supposed to guess, or we are supposed to identify which of the options is the correct output of this particular snippet. So here is one array or series given, which is named L here, and it has some string like practice makes the man and perfect. So now what we are supposed to now what this code is doing, it is sorting as in arranging it in ascending order from smaller value to larger value. But how do we ascend the strings? Strings is collection of letters, right? So generally alphabetical sorting happens. Okay, so here in this case also alphabetical sorting will happen, right? So that means which of the words will be the first to come in alphabetical order? It will be M and then P and then T, right? But what happens here is it will not consider it as the plain alphabets like we are considering. What Python compiler will do is it will convert it into ASCII values. So ASCII values are for all the alphabets, first capital letter starts and then small letter starts. capital to small. So that means when the strings are sorted, the strings which starts with the capital letter will come first. So that means the word practice will be first after sorting. So now can you guess, like Naina has said and Ketki has said, almost everyone. Arpita also said it's option D. So now would you like to like reconsider your options and again guess what will be the correct answer? Yeah, because now practice will be the first word to be printed when we are sorting that particular string, right? So after practice it will be makes. Man will be third because it's a simple alphabetical sorting, right? Makes will become first because K occurs before N. So man will be third, and then the perfect will be the fourth, and the will be last or fifth. So now when we are printing all the elements which are in this series L, like this for loop, what it will do, it will iterate for all the elements which are in the in this array L. It will print those elements. So it will be printing practice, makes, man, perfect, full stop, the, which is option C, right? So most of you are agreeing with me, yeah? So okay, I see many of you. Yeah, Anupa, you do you have something to say? You have raised your hand. Is there any doubt? Darshana, Anupa, I can see your raised hands. So Nidhi, if there are any doubts, please type in the chat box. Okay, great. Yeah, so I'm moving on to second question. So what should be the code to print all even numbers, right? We have to print all the even numbers between 1 and 10, right? And all both 1 and 10 inclusive. That means the number 1 and number 10 should be part of your output. So we have seen in for loop, the index, it stops the execution at one position less than the what we have defined. So if we are writing it for I in range till 10, it will stop its execution at 9 and it will start at 0. It will right, it will not start at 1, it will start at 0 and stop its execution at 10. 9, not 10. Yeah, so we will carefully look, and now we are supposed to print all the even numbers. So that means we have to check for the condition if I mod 2, modulus of I, when any number is divided by 2, if the remainder is 0, then that will be even number, right? For a number to be even, that number percentage sign is modulus. Modulus is remainder when divided by 2. So if any number divided by 2, if the remainder is equal to 0, if this condition is true, the number I will be even. So if condition true in option A, B and C, right? And the range should be from 1 to 11 because both the numbers should be inclusive. So many of you are right. The correct answer is option C. So this week it is easier to understand. Like last week there was confusion about the range, how the last number is not included, how the execution stops one number before the range limit specified, right? So this time I hope it is clear that we can specify the range, we can specify the starting number, but if starting number of the range is not specified, it is automatically considered 0. So execution of this particular loop will go from 0 to 9, and similarly execution of this particular loop will go from 0 to 10, but this loop will go from 1 to 10. Similarly this loop will go from 1 to 10, right? But we want 1 and 10 both inclusive, so we will consider only option C or D. And now we will check for the even number condition. Which of them is printing even number? This is printing even and this will print odd, right? So the correct snippet would be option C. So let's move on to next question, question 3. Again, we are asked to guess the output of this particular snippet, right? Yeah. So we are importing a package called random, right? Now what random will do, it will help us in generating some random number. So what is happening, we are declaring an empty series or empty array. Now for I in range of 10, so that means the execution will be from 0 to 9 for this particular for loop. Now what is happening is L dot append. What this append function does, append function will, it is similar to concat, it will keep on adding the numbers towards the end. So say for example, if my L contains 1, 2, two numbers, and if I say L dot append 3, so the new L will be 1, 2 and 3. It will put that number, it will append that item to the next position where the last element was. So 2 after 2, now it has appended 3. So this append, what it will append to this L, some random number, random dot rand int, random integer. Now random integer which will be lying between 0 to 10, right? 0 to 10. So between 0 to 10, it will generate one random number, and that random number will be appended in L. That means added in that L, right? So we are adding random number to this array L. And now what is happening is, and how many numbers will be added? 10, right? Because there will be 10 executions, right? So the 10 random numbers will be added to this L. 10 random numbers between 0 to 10, yeah, between 0 to 10. Now we are sorting it. The sort function, it will sort that array in ascending order, and then we are using the reverse function. Now it will reverse. That means if this is 1, 2, 3 is my array, if I do L dot reverse, then the new L will be 3, 2, 1, right? It will reverse the position of the elements of the array. So now new L, what it will print, we are sorting the array in ascending order and then we are reversing. That means we are sorting that array in descending order, right? So all of you, most of you, yeah, everyone is correct. Everyone has said option A, and that's the correct answer. A sorted list L containing random elements between 0 to 10 in descending order, right? This sort will do it in ascending order, and it will reverse the position of all elements. So this week there are no doubts, so we are not going to the Colab to run the code, but we are able to decipher or we are able to break down the code and just imagine it like a computer, step by step, every step at a time, and we are arriving at correct answer. So this is what is expected. So once we are able to do it, that means we can develop logic for any program, for writing any program. If we know how a code will work, we can write the code, right? So that's why such questions are necessary to practice, to guess what will be the output from the code, so that we are able to break down certain points and understand the logic behind it, understand the reason behind using a particular function or a particular data type. So that is what we are learning here through these predicting the code assignment questions. Yeah. So the next question is, again we have to guess the output of this particular code. So the list or the array is consists of we, were, here together. So the index of this will be 0, 1, 2 and 3. So now I in range till 3. So that means this for loop will be executed 3 times. Right? There will be 3 executions and we are supposed to print the elements of array. Elements of array or list. Elements of list. This list L. Okay, so this will start from 0 and will end at 2. The execution of this for loop. The value of I will be 0, then 1 and 2 because it will execute 3 times. So that means it will print, what will be the output? It will print V. In next line it will be were here. We were here. Okay? That is option B. So when you run this particular code, it will print all the words in the next line. It will not be in one line. But here to save the space, certain options are given like this. So even in your exam, you might get the output in the one single line. So don't get confused. It is to, but here in the for loop, the print statement will be executed 3 times separately. So the each word will be printed on the next line, right? So you have to be not get confused at this point because of the for loop and the print statement, right? These are the small things which we will try to now since we are maybe we can think that we understand that these words will be on the separate lines, right? So now let's moving on to question 5. Question 5 is asking us what will be the value of list L. Yeah, so what is it doing? So we are declaring empty list L, and now we are executing these statements 5 times, right? So there will be 5 executions. Now what we are doing is, if so this for I is the index of the loop. So index, if index is even, we are populating the list by adding the word even. Else, that means if the index is odd, then we are populating it with the word odd, right? So now let's try to understand. The value of I will be starting from 0 to 4, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These will be the value of this I. So now this for 0, when we execute, it will be even, right? So L will consist of even. Then for 1, it will be odd. Then for 2, it will be even. Then again for 3, it will be odd. And for 4, it will be even. So which of the option is even, odd, even, odd, even? Option D. Yeah? So yes, I am happy that almost everyone has said option D. Couple of you have said option A, Anupa and Jayanti. So is there any confusion about how it will be D, other than D, why it will be A? If there any confusion, either you can unmute or type in the chat box.
No ma'am, no confusion ma'am.
Okay, great. So should I
Thank you ma'am.
Moving forward? Yeah. So this okay, so don't get scared about the options. The question is very simple. We are supposed to guess what is the correct code for a function. So okay, so function is the new word here. Okay, function to return sum of the elements in the list L, right? So we have to add all the elements of a particular list and return a sum. Yeah. So when we are using function in Python, we have to declare that function. For function declaration or function definition, the keyword to use is def followed by function name. Then we will start the set of instructions, which will be yes, Sankalp, you are right, sum will be sum plus element, right? So that's the correct logic, how that we are supposed to execute in the for loop, right? So now what Sankalp means is we will declare a variable called sum. So in all these four snippets, that variable is total, right? So they have declared this variable total and initialized its value to 0. So what we will do is we will add all the elements of a list to this total variable, but we are supposed to traverse through the list for that, right? For every element, that every element value should get added to this variable called total. So we will define a for loop, okay, not infinite loop but a for loop. So either one such for loop which will execute for all the elements of L, or it will execute from 0 to length of that particular list L. So for loop range will be from 0 to length of L. So how do we get length of L? By this keyword len of L. Yeah, so let us check if for loop for I in range till length of L. So this option has, option B has, and option D also has, right? So every option is traversing through this list till the end of the this particular list L by finding out length of L and executing for loop till that length, so that all the indices or all the index for all the elements in that particular list will be considered, right? So now we are supposed to add our number L of I to the total. So new total will be old total plus that particular element in the for loop. So this all will be part of the for loop. So now check if almost all four options are returning total is equal to total plus L of I. Okay, so now what happens is when we define any function, we have to set the return value, what that function is giving back to the program. So the return keyword is a must for defining any function. So you will notice that this option B, it doesn't have the return keyword, so it has missing keyword return. So this can't be the answer. Rest of the three options have the return total as the proper way of defining function. So all these three options have defined the function sum of the list, and they are passing the list as argument. So argument of a function is something which function requires and which function will be using. So we are using this list L in the function very actively, and another variable in the function is total, which we are at the beginning when the function will be called, we are creating this or we are initializing this variable and setting it to 0 and adding all the elements in the list to that particular variable called total. So now what is happening here in option A is we have defined list L and it has some elements from 1 to 10, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So now it is returning total. So total is a integer value or a number. So here we are declaring another variable which will hold this number, or which will kind of point to this number. Yeah, so this sum of list, so this function is called, so this will be function call from the program. Yeah, so function call from the program, and we are passing this L as argument to this program, and then it is adding all the elements to the variable total and giving this total back to the main function here. Yeah, so return total, main back to the function, and it is printing the total sum. So this program is correctly giving back the total sum. Yeah, Anupa, Okay, so I can explain more about the return keyword. Okay, so when do we use functions is when we want to repeatedly uh, like some set of instructions, if we want to call them again and again repeatedly, which is different than loop. Okay, in loop what happens, we can execute the loop once, but if we want to execute certain set of instructions again and again, then we use this notion of functions. We define functions, and all the programming languages, Python also supports the functions, and there is certain way in which we have to write the functions. So function will complete or will do one task for you, one or more tasks for you. So in our example, the task with which that function is doing is, it is adding all the elements in the list, right? The list L has some elements, and our function is adding all the elements of that list. So we are defining a function in which the argument will be passed. Argument is the argument could be any variable which will be part of the main function. So this will be main program, and it has this list L, and now we are supposed to pass this list L to the function. Here it is not passed, so therefore this option will not be the answer, right? But here in this program, you will see some of the list, this L is passed on. So that means the compiler knows that he has to use this list for this function. So this is called argument. Yeah, argument for a function, right? So a function will have input, which is argument, and this is given to the program by when we call that particular program. So here we are calling that particular program, right? So calling, you all understand now, we are calling. Here we are calling program, calling function. So we are calling that function, right? When function is completing the task, how will the main program utilize that task or the output of a certain set of instructions? Through this return thing. Yeah, so in return, so whatever we write in the program, the variables, the like here the L, the variables, it could be different, right? Here there is no argument, so that's why this is not the correct code, huh? But if we observe the correct answer, there is a L is list passed on to this program. This program is using this list to calculate the sum and giving the sum back to the main program. So this giving the sum or giving the output back to the main program is done using this return keyword. This return keyword. So return gives back the output, it completes the task and gives back the output to the main program through this return. So return is a must. If you are not returning any variable, then a just return keyword is necessary. I mean, you have to type in return at least, and after that, now since this is the total, we are like returning back this total. Yeah, so now is it clear, Anupa and Birendra? Now a little better understanding of the function, what is the argument and why do we use return? Okay, great. So I am now moving forward. Okay, great. So if there is any confusion, do let me know. We can spend couple of more minutes, but I think since everyone has understood, let's move on to question 7. Yeah, so what question 7 asking us is, what does the following code represent? Yeah, so let's go through the code one by one and understand what it is doing. Yeah, so A is integer type input, enter number 1, and B is another integer which we are asking user to enter, integer type input number 2. So a user is entering, or we can say there are two numbers getting inputted. Yeah, So input is two numbers. Yeah. So while one is, the while loop will be executed because it is one is true. Yeah. In last correct answer for question 3, Nidhi, okay, fine, let us go back to question 3. Yeah, question 3, the option A was the correct answer. This is sorting list in ascending order. It was populating the list in the random numbers from 0 to 10, and then it is sorting list in ascending order and then reversing the list. That means descending order. So the correct option will be sorted list containing random elements between 0 to 10 in descending orders. Yeah. Okay, so let's come back to question 7, in which this is the input two numbers, and this while one is, this while loop will be executed at least once, and it will not stop execution unless this break is executed. Yeah. So it is more like infinite loop, but infinite loop knows how to stop the execution. So infinite with the stop condition because of this break statement at the end. Yeah. So now let us see how the execution will happen here. So a and b are the two numbers, so this will execute at least once. Okay, so what is happening here? A modulus b, so this percent size is modulus. What that gives us is a, when a is divided by b, what is the remainder? If the remainder is 0, that means the number is completely divisible. Then it will print wow. And break. After printing, it will, while loop will stop its execution. For no, not even, sorry. For if a is divisible by b. So everyone agrees if a is divisible by b. Why? Because a mod b should be 0. So a mod b, that means we are dividing number a by number b and we are checking if the remainder is 0. Okay, so this will stop the execution when a is divisible by b. Now else, that means if a is not divisible by b. Now what is happening? If you want to continue, press 1, else 0. So if you again want to check, then it is taking input as in the variable choice, so int input. So if you want to again check for two numbers, then you can enter 1, or else you can 0. So now if choice is 1, that means we have a chance to enter the second number again. So you enter another number b, and then again it will go on to, there is no break loop here, right? There is there is no break keyword written after this. So that means after this if loop, this will again check the divisibility condition. And if choice is 0, that means else. If you don't want to continue, then we are breaking, that means we are stopping the execution of the program. So now here the main learning would be use of the break statement, right? Break is to stop the execution of the loop, come out of the loop. Yeah. So now what will be the code representing? Let us see. Option 1 checks if a is divisible by b. Option B checks if b is divisible by a. Option C checks if a and b are multiples of 5 or none of the above. So we have already figured that out here. If a is divisible by b, so the answer would be 1. Yeah. So everyone agrees with me, or there are some confusion? Here the learning was to figure out what this break will do and how it will stop and where it will stop execution. So it will stop execution once we enter the second number, which is able to divide the first number. That means it will continue executing unless we have two sets of number where first number is divisible by second number. Yeah, that is how we are using this break statement. So any doubts here?
Ma'am, if a is not divisible by B. B means what will happen, ma'am?
Okay, so A is not divisible by B. That means this if A modulus B equal to 0, this condition will be false. So these statements will not be executed at all. This loop will go to this else part. Now in else part, the user will be asked, if you want to continue, press 1, else 0. And we are storing user's choice input. Using input function, we are storing user's choice in this variable called choice. So now after that, it will check if this choice is equal to 1. That means if user wants to continue, so yes, user wants to continue, then we will we will ask user to enter second number again, first number. So this will be the first number throughout the program. Yeah, this will be the first number throughout all the program, right? But we are asking user to enter another number, second number. uh, you have another value of b, so new value of b. So since choice was equal to 1, this choice equal to 0, this loop also, this condition will be false, so this break will not be executed. While the condition is always true, so the second execution will happen, and it will again check if A, the first number, is divisible by the second number entered by user here, the second number. If that is divisible, if that is able to divide the first number, if the modulus is 0, then it will print wow and execute break and come out of the while loop. If it is not, then it will again ask user, if you want to continue, press 1, if you want to else, press 0. Yeah. So I was expecting such confusion. So I had already executed. I have already written the code in Colab. This thing. Let's see how it gives the output, right? So let's wait for it to run. Yeah. So enter number 1. So you tell me what should be the number 1. Say for example, let's enter simple number 50. Yeah. Number 2 could be, say, something which is not able to divide 50. Say 7. Enter. What is happening here? It is asking me, it did not print wow. Okay, it is asking, it is going to that this here, the choice. Yeah, the cursor is here. That means we are, yeah. So now let us enter 10 and see what happens. Okay, did I enter something? So our number was 50. Second number, let's say 7. 1. We want to continue. And now the number 10. So it is now printing wow. So everyone got it, how this is getting executed? So here in the first run, the number was second number, the B, the value of B was 7. So 50 mod 7 was not 0. So it did not print wow, but it asked us if you want to continue. So we said, okay, we want to continue. So now we were entering the second number again. So now I chose something which is able to divide the first number, that is 50. So I chose 10. So now this mod value, A mod B value, is 0. So it printed wow. Okay. So clear? I forgot who had the doubt. So the person who had asked, I think Jayanti ji, it was you?
Yes, ma'am. I only asked, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay,
I
so
understood, ma'am, now.
Okay, great. So shall we move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah. So now we are supposed to assume that there exists a text file named file.txt. So now when the file is already existing, now what will this particular code snippet will do, that we are supposed to guess. Okay. So let us see with open file.txt comma r, okay, as file print file.read. So that means it will print the contents of file.txt. It is reading and printing. That means whatever the file.txt will contain, this particular statement, it will print that on the screen. Now in the next write, it is file.write hey there, and after that we are closing the file.close. Yeah, we are closing the file, we are shutting that file down. So what do you think this code will be doing? A, B, C or D? So let's go to the option one by one. Option A says print whatever is there in the file and add hey there. Okay, so this will print the contents of the file.write. It will write this statement to the file.txt. File.write generally writes that particular this thing, whatever argument we are giving, that is added to the file, that is returned to the file. Yeah, and then we are closing the file. File.close. So Shubham is saying option B. Okay, so option B says throws an error in the end as the file is not opened in writable mode. Okay, option C says throws an error in the end as the file is not opened in readable mode. No error will be thrown and the code will work fine. Okay, so the very good question Roshan has asked is, what is the purpose of this R? Yeah, what is the purpose of this R is, when we are handling any file, we have these, when we are using this with open file.txt, we can open file in different modes. Like say for example, there is we can read a particular file, so R is for reading a particular file. So this mode is given as a argument to this open function, right? So here I think the argument will be clear. Yeah, we are giving file as an argument and the mode in which that file is supposed to be opened as the argument to that function. We are calling this open function, which is part of Python libraries. So now that the function, what is the return, that concept will get more clear here. So here the file.txt, the name of the file is argument and the mode in which you are supposed to open the file. So this R says reading mode. Then there is W mode, which is the write mode. And then there is A mode called append mode. So append means we will not touch the existing code of the file, existing contents of the file, but we will add new content at the end. Like we have seen l.append a couple of questions back. Similarly, the content will be appended at the end. We will not rewrite the content, whereas the file write will be rewriting the file completely. It will be changing the content of the file completely. And read will be the read-only mode. Yeah, so this is like the normal file opening mode, right? We all know that there are read-only files, there are readable and writable files, right? So these are the modes in which a file can be opened. Yeah, Roshan, so now you are clear what is the purpose of R. So R is the mode in which we are supposed to handle a particular file. So those who are saying the option B are correct. This will throw an error. Why? Because it is opened in readable mode, so we are just able to read the file, but we will not be able to write the file. Yeah, so there will be an error, which is option B. Throws an error. It will not execute. It will not give any output, but an error. Yeah, so can we move on? You can raise hand if you are ready to be moved on. Okay, I have some 5-6 raised hands, so I'm going to go to question 9 quickly. Yeah, okay, great, thank you. Let's move on to question 9. So question 9 says there is an empty file called file.txt. Now what will be the output of the following code? So let us go through the code one by one, I mean one line at a time. So here you see with open file.txt, so this is the file name, and here it is w. Yeah, so w is added. Yes, Roshan, you are correct. It will be rectified when we add w, because we are writing the file in this particular question. Yeah, we are using the file.write function here, na. So for that we have to change this r to w. You are right. So now here in this particular question we are using w. That means this w will allow us to write as well. Yeah, so there is an empty file, it has the contents are nothing, so we are opening it in the write mode and using file.write hey there. So now file.txt, it will contain hey there and two exclamation marks, and we are closing that file.close. So now we are again opening that file in a is append mode. Append mode mein what happens, we will not rewrite the content, but we will append the this particular statement which we are using in the write function, writing this file again. Yeah, so it will be appending in the same line, it will give us writing this file again. Now with open file.txt r, so it will be read only mode. Yeah, so we are print file.read, so this will be executed and it will print the contents of the file. Yeah, so I think the answer should be option C, hey there, writing this file again. But many of you seem to be thinking that the answer is option D. Jayanti ji, why? I mean, what makes you think that the answer should be option D? Why it will throw an error?
Ma'am, I opened in open mode, ma'am, but not closed, ma'am. That's why I clicked
Oh,
throws an error, ma'am.
okay, okay. It will not throw an error. It will still execute if we are. I mean, yeah, it because it is read only mode, na. We are not doing anything, so that's fine. It will execute. Yeah. So
Ma'am,
let
but
us
once
see.
we open means we have to close that, no, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. So you want to see the execution? Let us try.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Let us try the execution. Hmm. I have to see what is the code. Okay. With open file.txt. Okay. Huh. Okay, I'm typing with open. Oh, I'm forgetting the this thing. Wait. File.txt, comma. Where's the comma? Huh. In the write mode, right? Huh. As file. Colon return. Now it is what it is doing. It is file.write hey there and file.close. Okay. File.write hey there. And file.close. Now let us again toggle and see with open a append. Okay. With open file.txt. Okay, I am doing this on iPad, so that's why it is taking longer to type and do everything. A as file. Okay. File dot write writing the file again. And not closing with open file.txt in read mode, right? Read mode as file print file.read. So and close, no? File.close. Now once again let's cross check the code. Okay, here also file is not getting closed, only for once as a file. ठीक है. Close. So now let us see what will happen. Yeah, so file.close is not as important argument as the mode of the file handling. Okay, yeah, my bad. I will just correct it. Yeah, but still it will not give an error because of the spelling mistake. Yeah, okay, so it is giving output properly, like hey there, writing the file again. Yeah, so okay, so Bhavesh, I did not understand your question. Can you explain with the keyword its syntax and uses? Which keyword you did not get? This file.write, file.read, these functions keywords. I mean, I did not get your question. With okay, so with open is these are like you don't have to I mean certain points are like syntax of a particular this thing. So what we are doing here is with open is we are opening the file or we are connecting that file with the compiler, our Python compiler. Okay, so the compiler should know which file he's supposed to handle. We can read the file, we can write the file, we can also convert the contents of the file into data type which is handled by the Python. Okay, so you might have understood there is pandas library. So what pandas do is they take the Excel format or CSV format and then convert it into something which can be a database like, where you can run the queries, where you can use group by. So there are certain libraries which help us in using that data which is external to Python through the file, any type of file. So here that file is txt file. So what we are doing is with open is we are using with open here in for every action, right? 1 2 3 everywhere we are using with open. So with open we need to tell the compiler which file he's supposed to look at. So he's supposed to look at file.txt, and there is a mode in which he's supposed to look at that file. So that is read mode, write mode and append mode, which is used all these three modes are used here, W, A and R. So when it is in write mode, in the next line we are using file.write. So that means this text hey there will go in file.txt and we are closing that file. So now after closing we are again opening that file with open. Which file to open? File.txt. In which mode? A mode, that is append mode. We are opening it as a file and we are writing. File.write means we are writing the file again into that file. Yeah, but we are appending because it is in A mode, append mode. So the file already has hey there and then we are appending, writing the file again. So with open these are the functions which we use for file handling. Yeah, these are used to help the compiler to point towards which file and in which mode he or she the compiler is supposed to handle that particular file. Okay, so this way we modified or we manipulated the file, right? So for manipulation we are supposed to open the file. So that is how we are using with open keyword here. Okay, great, you got it. So we can move on to the last question. This was the ninth question. So this is the correct answer. So file dot close will not make any changes here. Yeah, will not give any error. But the mode in which the file is getting opened by the compiler will makes all the difference, right? So that was the key takeaway out of this question. Yeah. So this is the last question for the assignment quiz. After that, there is a programming quiz. Now, since we have gone through all the codes, so it will be easier to understand the programming codes also. Okay, so we will directly jump to the code and understand after this question. So in this question, we are asked what will be the output of the following code, right? So now what is getting done here in these two lines? We are writing this 100111011 to this file.txt. Now, this is the file name. So now this is in write mode, right? W means write mode. So now this will be the content of this file.txt. Now we are closing the file. We have written that and we have closed the file. So now again we are opening the file but in read mode. So in read mode, what it is doing is list file.read. So it is reading the content of the file and it is converting it into list type or in the array type. So now all these elements 1 0 0 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 will have index. We can access any element at any point using that index. So this index will be 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. Yeah, so if we want to address the sixth element, it will be L of 6, which is 1. So we can now individually, we converted the text file into array. So this is what I meant, when Python can handle the different file types, is it can convert the usable data. So now we can manipulate, if the data is in list format now, we can manipulate the content of the file more effectively, more dynamically. So now we are again closing the file. We converted this content into list L and close the file. So now in the for loop, for I in range till length of L, that means we are traversing through this list L. So this has the index. So good, we wrote all the indices on the top of the list elements. So now if I mod 2 is 0 and L of I is also 0, then we are changing L of I to 1. That means the index is even and L of I is 0, then we are changing L of I to 1. But if index is odd, because second if condition, what second if condition says, I mod 2 is not equal to 0. That means it is odd. So if index is odd and the element in the list is 1, so L of I is 1, then we are setting L of I is 0. Yeah. So now let us check what it is saying. The index should be even. Yeah, so 0 will be even. Let us write E on top of even indices. This will be odd, even, odd, even, odd, even, odd, even, odd. So now index is even and L of I is 1. So this condition is so it will not be manipulated. This value will remain as it is. So this value of L, the output, this will remain as it is, 1. It will not, nothing will happen. Where is the exclamatory mark? It is not equal. Yeah, this in second F Roshan, this second if condition, this here, this is not. I mod 2 is not equal to 0. So we are checking. यहाँ पे equal to की condition check कर रहे हैं. In the next we are checking not equal to. So this exclamation mark is not. So not and then equal to. So if the index divided, when it will be divided by 2, if remainder is not equal to 0, that means the index is odd. Yeah, got it? So we are checking for the odds condition. When the remainder is not equal to 0 and the element is 1. So now again, we executed the first loop, and now in the second loop it is odd, so we have to go for the second loop. If and the element is 1, so element is 0, so this 0 will be here. No action, no manipulation done to list. So now for 3 it is even and the list element is also 0. So this if condition, this will be true for the first time, and this element will be changed to 1. So now for the next index is odd, that means the second loop, and the list is 1, so no, but the list element is 0, so this 0 will come as it is. So now this is odd, so this is even, so first condition even, and list of element is 0, so element of the list is not 0. Yeah, it is 1 here. So 1 will, as it is, it will not be manipulated, no this thing will be there, right? So then again for fifth it is odd, so this second if loop, yeah, odd and list of element is 1, then we are setting it to 0. List of element is 1, we are setting it to 0. Now again going to even, so even and the list element is 1, so no manipulation, 1 will be as it is. Now odd, the index is odd but the list element is 0, so no manipulation, 0 will be as it is. Now index is even and the element is 1, so no manipulation, 1 will be as it is. Now index is odd, yeah, and the element is 1, so element is 1, so we will change it to 0. So output will be 1 0 1 0, the alternate ones and zeros respectively. Yeah, option A. So any confusion here? You did not understand any part of this code? You understood that by I we are considering index of particular list, and when we are checking if I mod 2, that means when the index is divided by 2, what is the remainder? So when we are saying I mod 2 equal to 0, that means we are checking if the remainder is 0. And so this if condition will be true when both the conditions are true. Yeah, because we are using the and keyword. Yeah, so both these conditions should be true, so only then this li is equal to 1 will be executed. When we are using the and keyword, that means we want both the condition to be held true so that we can execute the following statement. Yeah, so here for the odd index, the list element should be 1. Yeah, both the conditions should be true, only then we will modify that list element, we will set that list element to 0, otherwise we will not do any manipulation. That is how we get this alternate ones and zeros. Okay, so should we conclude these assignment questions and move on to programming questions? You can raise hands or unmute and quickly say yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Okay, so let us have a look at the programming assignment questions and first try to work up the logic to be used for programming questions. Okay, so the question says you are given a list named L. Now print all the elements at the odd positions. So we will use for loop for I in range till length of L. Yeah, you agree? We have seen this, na? And we are supposed to print all the elements which are at the odd position. So that means we will check the if condition. Yes, Rishi, every session is recorded and link is shared with you all. The YouTube, I will be uploading this recording onto YouTube, and I will be sharing the link on the sheet which is part of the problem solving session on the Swayam platform. Okay, and maybe at the end I will also give link to my YouTube channel. So when I upload, so I'll be uploading today's recording by tomorrow. Yeah, so by tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon I will be uploading updating YouTube channel and updating the Excel sheet on the Swayam platform. So you will get recording of today's session by tomorrow. Yeah, so now we are supposed to we know that there'll be a for loop, and we are supposed to print all the elements at the odd positions. So we will now check if the index I is even or odd. So if it is odd, then we will print that particular element. So we have to check if it is odd. Yeah, so odd ke liye what was the condition? The remainder, the odd numbers are not divisible by 2, so it will not be equal to 0, right? So the exclamation will come, not equal to 0. Yeah, and if it is not equal to 0, then we will print that element L at I. Yeah, so now let us go to the collab and see. So nobody wants to see this 0 1 alternate ones and zeros, na? Because I was not sure if everyone will understand. So let us save the time and go to the next the programming question part. Yeah, display the numbers of even index. So so what here we are doing is we are asking users to enter the elements, array. We are not supposed to use the arrays which are this thing which are part of the program, okay? Because what they have saying is we will take care of the input, you just have to print the element present at the odd position. So I was not sure if they mean that we are supposed to define L and all the elements. So I am taking input from the users. Okay, so what I'm doing is they have not specified, the question has not specified like how many elements should be part of this list L. So I'm taking multiple inputs at the same time. So I'm asking user to specify to separate every element by space. So this is very simple statement. It's a simple feature of input function, which is split. So I'm using split and then the blank bracket, like here you will see. So this is what I'm doing. I'm storing that input in the list directly. So here L is of int type. So we have seen the typecasting in last session. So I'm converting that input into integers. So int of I, for every I in the input, for every I am taking input. And how I'm taking that input? Separated by space. So using input two brackets dot split. Yeah, so this one statement is very easy to understand. It might look complex right now, but I'm just instead of using for loop for the input and then storing the L and doing everything, I've just combined everything in one statement, right? It is easier to implement and easier to understand, right? So here every number will be separated by commas. And then again the for loop. This for loop we already worked upon, right? So now let us execute this. So enter few number separated by space. Let us say 2 space 2 space 5 space 7 space 25 space 3 return. So now it is giving, so at odd position out of these, 2's index is 0, so it's at, even though it's a first element, its index is 0. Yeah, so that's why it will be even. So it will be 5 and 25. Okay, so okay, so Darshana, what I'm so what this split is doing, so you understand the input. We had used input in last week also. So this input statement, it allows us to take input from the user. So we are using taking multiple inputs from the user. We want to take all the elements at one go for our list. So what I'm doing is I'm saving all the inputs. I'm saving all the inputs here, yeah, in this list. So and this int I will be typecasting, converting that input into integer rather than keeping it in object type or the string type, the character type. I'm converting it to integer. So for integer I, so for I is the generic element which user is inputting. Yeah. So for all the i's in the input, Yeah, so this for I in is another important for loop which we will be using again, maybe in next week or somewhere we will encounter this, for I in, for and in keywords, for loop keywords. So this for I in, what it will do, we don't have to specify the ending or the size of our input here. For all the elements in the input, it will execute, right? So in the input, and how we are supposed to take multiple input, so input dot split. So split doesn't have argument, so you will notice in this particular code I have written split is comma. Yeah, split has the argument comma. Yeah, so this what it will do is here what I am asking is enter some numbers separated by comma. So it's a separator. So this is the separator concept. When we are using when we are asking user to input something in one line, then how we are differentiating or how we are splitting the elements. So in this program we are splitting the elements by space, by separating them by space. We are splitting the one line input. Whenever the space occurs, we are splitting that string into different elements and storing individual element as one element. Okay, so here the separator string is, okay, I made this. Okay, so here the separator that splitting thing is, splitting character is comma. So wherever the comma occurs, it will split that input into, split that one line into different elements and store it in list. So this is what is happening in the second program. Yeah, so now the first program is clear how we are doing it. So we'll move on to second program. So in second question, okay, yeah, Darshan has also given go ahead, so we'll quickly move on to second question. So in second questions, again you have a list and print first three smallest element in ascending order. That means we are supposed to use the sort function, right? List.sort, l.sort. Yeah, and then last two greatest elements in descending order. So same thing we can do, na, l.reverse, the similar to that question in the assignment quiz we just saw. So that's what I have done. I have again taken the input from the user, multiple inputs using the same split argument, but here I am asking user to separate the input by comma. And then what I am doing is I am printing L 0 to 3 because it is asking first three elements. Okay, so 0 to 3, so 0 1 2 will be outputted, will be printed, and then I'm reversing the L and then first two from 0 to 2. Okay, so now let's see its execution, how it is happening. So enter some numbers separated by comma. Yeah, so let me just enter 1 comma 3 comma, oh god, it is not taking, wait, I'm just let me just use keyboard. Okay, 1 comma let us say 56. I'm using 56 because it's there are two elements, 5 and 6, 56. So now it will not consider 5 as different element and 6 as different element because there is no comma between 5 and 6. But if we do 5 comma 6, then now what happens? Comma 23. Enter. 22. Enter. So now what happens is it has sorted. It is considered 56 and 22 as one number because there was no comma, right? So we have sorted and printed first three elements using the index argument L in bracket 0 to 3. 0 colon 3 will print from elements from index 0 to 2. Just like for loop, it will be 3 minus 1. So it will be 0, 1, 2. So, and we used the reverse function and then printed the first two elements. So it will give us first three smallest elements and two largest elements. So it was easy. Now we understood because we saw how the sort function works, how reverse function works. And now we used the sort and reverse and just printed different indices of the list element. So coming to last questions, Srivalli, since your query is more generic, not the question related, I'll take it up at the end. So in question 3, we are asked that we are given a list L, and we are supposed to write a function. Yeah, we are supposed to write a function. Write a function called all underscore even that accepts the list L and print all the even numbers in the list L. Yeah, order should be same as order present in the list. There will be no ascending sorting or descending sorting. We just have to L and print the even numbers, the numbers which are at the even positions, right? So that means there will be for loop, even elements, not at even positions, the even elements. That means we have to traverse through all the items in the all the numbers in that particular list, and we have to check if each number is even or odd. Okay, so there are two ways to do that. First is for every element in E. So this, we used this for I in L. Yeah, we have used this same concept for I in input here in this line. Yeah, for I in input. So here we are using the same concept for every element I which is part of L. So here for every element I which is part of L, this particular loop will be executed. So so generally what we were doing till now is we were using I as index of element, but here the I becomes element itself. Yeah, so you can use this concept also. So I have written the code for when we consider I as index, not as element also. So there are more than one ways to do or to write a program. Yeah, so instead of traversing for every element, we can traverse through the index of that list and then see if li mod 2 is equal to 0. So if the number, this element L of I will be the ith element of a list, if that is divisible by 2, then we will print that element. Now what we are doing here, we are checking if that I here for I in L mein what happens is that I becomes the element of the list. So now that element is even, then we are printing the I. Here we were printing L of I. We need to print L of I. Okay. So these are the two different ways in which this function can be written. Okay. So when I was explaining the this thing, when I was explaining you how to write the function, I had said that the return keyword is important. But here I have not used the return keyword at all. You know why? Because the output, whenever the function will be called, these lines will be executed, like line 1, line 2, line 3, all these three will be executed and it will print. Yeah, there is a print statement. So it will give the output directly, and we are not supposed to manipulate that output any further. Okay, we can stop when the numbers are printed. That's all is expected out of this. So that's why this particular function all underscore even will not return anything to the main program. Yeah, so we can do it this way as well. Yeah, so I wanted to highlight how we can use for loop and how we can define functions in multiple ways. So now again I am taking input from the user here, and then I'm printing the even numbers are and just calling the function by passing the argument L, because L we are asking user through the main program. This is the main program, na? It is not part of our function. For function we are passing that. So now what happens when we execute this? Few numbers separated by space. Yeah, so 23 space 4 space 35 space 65 space say 84 and return. So the even numbers are 4 and 84, right? No, Ketki, since it is not returning anything, we can skip the return keyword at all, or we can write return and stop. I mean, yeah, both ways it will not give any errors. So that's why now we consider Python is the language which is most widely used, because it is not bothered by such things. You don't have to keep in mind that if return is not returning anything, you can skip the return keyword altogether. And since now I showed you how we can use for loop for the input. No, we can dynamically use this for loop for I in L, for I in L. So we don't have to go through the indices. So these are the features of Python. We can directly skip. So this green, the code which it's commented, that will also give the same output, but this is shorter output, and with the less amount of code, it is giving us the output efficiently, the expected output efficiently. So that's the beauty of Python. So Shrivali, coming to your query, okay, I think I have not shared this Python collab file with you. I will share last week's also and this week's also in the folder. So when you go to Swayam platform and click on the problem solving session, you are redirected to a Excel sheet, and Excel sheet has a link to a folder and YouTube links. Okay, so the folder has these PDF files which are annotated by me. Okay, and in the same folder I will also put this collab files, so you will have access to these solutions as well. So I think last week we started these collab files, so I will share last week's collab file also and this week's collab file also. Both of them will be shared, so you just check in that Google folder. So I will be sharing that file with you, so that you can also understand how this code is executed. Okay, so my collab file is my collab file will not have all the this thing, all the questions, the code snippets will not be run. Only those questions which I think will not be easy to understand, only for those I have collab code. Okay, so all the questions will not be part of my collab file. So Rishi, let me just copy, just a minute, wait, I will share, wait, with you. Wait. I think I had shared the link to the channel last week, but this week I have not copied that, so let me just, I don't know, let us see channel. I'm not sure if this will work. Let's see. Okay, see if this link is working, or there are YouTube videos in that the link to my YouTube videos is part of this thing, no? That Excel sheet. So from there you can go to the channel also. I mean, if this link is not working, I'm not sure if this works. Wait, I have other way of working. Okay, great. ठीक है. Okay, then I will take your leave. Happy learning. Let's meet next week, the same time, and the same Google link. Okay, so the venue and the time are same. 7 p.m. Next Tuesday we'll meet on the same Google Meet link. 7 to 8 o'clock is the official time, but we generally I don't like to hurry up, so I finish by 8:30 only every time. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye, good night. So ending this meeting now for everyone.